Welcome back everyone. Today we're slicing into Ghost of Yotei, the so-called sequel to Ghost of Tsushima. Is it a worthy successor or just another woke cash grab coasting on samurai vibes? Let's start with the elephant in the room. Ghost of Yotei feels like Ghost of Tsushima with a new wig. Sucker Punch dropped a banger in 2020, gorgeous world, tight combat, and Jin Sakai's epic quest to save Tsushima. It was a love letter to samurai cinema, scoring an 85 on OpenCritic and selling millions. But Yotei is looking like a feminist re-edition of an established classic. What a surprise. Set in 1603, Hokkaido, 300 years after Tsushima, we're still wandering feudal Japan as a ghost, slashing Mongols and soaking in hot springs. Same formula, new paint. Fandom Wire nailed it. This story's just a vehicle to justify more of the same, not a bold new tale. And why does this matter? It matters because Tsushima already gave us a masterpiece. Its 40 to 50 hour campaign was dense with meaningful side quests like the mythic tales, weaving Jin's journey with emotional weight. Yotei's trailer screams more of the same open world checklist, same samurai swagger. Ex-users are already calling it a DLC dressed as a sequel. If Sucker Punch is just recycling Tsushima's vibes without innovating, we're in for a stale samurai game. And trust me, nobody's craving that. Now, let's talk about that map. Tsushima's island was breathtaking, but it already felt bloated with collectibles. Fox dens that were a nightmare, despite those foxes' cuteness, shrines, rains, and repeat. Yotei's Hokkaido map is supposedly denser and grander, per the gamer. But denser doesn't mean better. Tsushima got flack for its generic open-world grind, repetitive, and boilerplate Ubisoft, despite its beauty. Yotei's clue system, where you interrogate enemies for secrets, sounds cool on paper, but ex-posts are skeptical. Another map stuffed with fetch quests and empty fields. That's actually very likely. Fandom Wire warned that Tsushima's repetitive mission structure, clear Mongol camps, save villagers, repeat, is Yotei's biggest hurdle. If Sucker Punch doesn't fill this snowy Hokkaido with meaningful content, we're just roaming a prettier version of Assassin's Creed Valhalla's Bloatfest. Tsushima's world felt alive because Jin's story tied it together. Yotei's Atsu, a new ghost, has no such legacy. Without a compelling narrative, this map risks being a big, empty land. Just style over substance. Gameplay is where Tsushima shone. Its combat was a ballet of parries, stances, and brutal finishers. Players, myself included, praised its rewarding swordplay, even if stealth was a bit clunky. Yotei promises more of that, plus new tricks like a time switch mechanic to toggle between past and present. Sounds dope, right? Except the deep dive screamed incremental upgrade. You're still slashing, sneaking, and rope swinging, but now with firearms and a shamisen for stealth kills. Cool, but is it revolutionary? Nope. Compare that to Tsushima's fresh take on open-world combat, which felt like Sekiro meets the Batman Arkham. Yotei's additions feel like DLC perks, not a bold evolution. Social media users are groaning, saying same combat, new skin. Worse, gaming outlets have flagged Tsushima's predictable side content as a weakness. Yotei's clue system might just be another checklist dressed up as innovation. If the core loop hasn't evolved, we're replaying a game we already beat, minus the emotional pull of Jin's journey. Yotei's reception is already a dumpster fire. The trailer dropped at Sony's State of Play, and the internet lost its mind, not in a good way. X-posts and Reddit threads are flooded with fans calling it woke of Yotei or DEI trash. Why? 2 words, female protagonist. Atsu, voiced by Erika Ishii, replaces Jin Sakai, and gamers are pissed. The gamer noted Tsushima's deified status among anti-woke fans who saw it as a masculine samurai epic. Yotei's pivot to a female lead feels like a betrayal to some. But it's not just Atsu. Erika Ishii, a self-described queer, non-binary, gender-fluid activist, is a lightning rod. Ex-users and YouTubers like Endymion are slamming her for past comments, like bashing police and pushing DEI, claiming she's a woke liability. That Park Place revealed Yotei's writers, John Dumbrow and Courtney Woods, worked on Dragon Age: The Veilguard, a game panned for its heavy-handed identity politics. Add a former Sweet Baby Inc. community manager, and you've got a recipe for skepticism. The fans on Reddit's Kotaku in Action call it a forced girl boss narrative, fearing Yotei will shoehorn modern politics into feudal Japan. Now, Tsushima wasn't immune to this. Reddit users flagged its girl boss characters like Tomoe as immersion breaking, but Yotei's backlash is louder because it's not just a side character, it's the lead. The pink news and global extremism framed the hate as misogyny, pointing to historical female warriors to justify Atsu. Fair, but when fans see Ishii's activism and Sony's recent woke flops like Concord, they're wary. Tsushima dodged this by focusing on Jin's grounded story, not preaching. Yotei risks alienating its core audience if it leans into agenda-driven writing. We're in 2025, folks, and the age of wokeness is crumbling. Gamers are done with preachy narratives that sacrifice fun for politics. Concord tanked, Dragon Age The Veilguard flopped, and Star Wars Outlaws got roasted for its chessless lead. Gamers are clear. We just want good games, not TED Talks. Tsushima worked because it respected its audience. Jin's struggle was universal, not a soapbox. Yotei's team seems oblivious, doubling down with Ishii and writers tied to BioWare's DEI disasters. Titan Inquisitor summed it up. Gamers aren't mad about a female lead. They're mad about a woke company and super woke voice actress pushing an agenda. Bleeding Fool noted Ishii's racist and pro-child mutilation views, fueling distrust. We're past the era where studios can shove ideology down our throats and expect the sales. Baldur's Gate 3 proved you can be inclusive and still make a game of the year by prioritizing quality. If Yotei preaches instead of entertain, he's headed for the same scrap heap as Concord. Let's stack Yotei against Tsushima. Tsushima was a cultural juggernaut. Metacritic raved about its gorgeous world and compelling story, with Khotun Khan as a charismatic villain. Jin's arc, torn between samurai honor and guerrilla tactics, hit hard. Yotei, no Jin, no legacy. Atsu's story as a wandering ghost feels like a rehash, and some gaming blogs predict it'll lack the narrative depth of Tsushima. Tsushima's world felt alive, Yotei's risks being a hollow checklist with very fair burnout concerns. Gameplay-wise, Tsushima set a high bar with fluid combat and cinematic duels. Yotei's additions, time switching, firearms feel gimmicky, not transformative. Tsushima's flaws like clunky stealth and repetitive tasks are still unaddressed. And the woke baggage? Tsushima had strong women like Masako and Yuna, but they served the story, not an agenda. Well, Masako kinda did. Yotei's casting and writing choices scream modern politics, alienating fans who loved Tsushima's focus. It's like trading a katana for a megaphone. Here's where Yotei could go viral, for all the wrong reasons. X is buzzing with Ghost of Yotei hashtags, and some YouTubers are calling it a franchise hijack. Reddits are roasting Sony for replacing Jin with the girl boss lead, and Geeks plus Gamers had to defend Yotei against DEI claims. This controversy is a catnip for rage clicks. If Sucker Punch doesn't course correct, Yotei could join Veilguard as a cautionary tale. They already share writers. They might as well share fate. Look, Ghost of Tsushima was a love letter to fans, a game that respected our love for epic stories and badass samurai. Yotei feels like a corporate memo, checking DEI boxes while recycling the same formula. I want to be wrong. I want Sucker Punch to deliver a sequel that honors Tsushima's legacy, not a woke rehash that flops harder than Concord, but with a controversial voice actress, recycled gameplay, and a potentially empty map. I'm skeptical. Is Ghost of Yotei doomed to be woke of Yotei, or can it redeem itself? Drop your opinions and concerns in the comments. Smash that like button if you're tired of woke gaming. Subscribe to join the fight for epic stories, and hit the bell so you don't miss our next video. Until next time.